My name is Amy, and I'm 36 years old now. I live in the countryside and work as a farmer. It's been 18 years since I left my parents' house, half a lifetime ago. When I think about that, I get emotional. The years I've lived building my own life are now longer than the years I spent under my parents' roof. I grew up in a city. My father worked in an office, and my mother stayed home to take care of us. I have one older brother. He's just a year older than me, but you'd think he was royalty the way my parents treated him. From the time we were kids, it was obvious my parents favored him. He always got the better gifts, more praise, and even better food. On birthdays, his cakes were bigger, his presents were flashier. He made fun of me all the time, but instead of stopping him, my parents acted like he could do no wrong. I tried hard to win their love, but nothing ever worked. After a while, I stopped trying. Then came the summer before my last year of high school. That's when everything really changed. My brother was struggling with school. He wanted to get into a top university but wasn't doing well in mock exams. He was angry and frustrated all the time, and he took it out on me. My parents, as always, sided with him. They gave me all the housework so he could focus on studying, even though I had exams too. Even worse, they tried to drag me down. I had better grades than him, and they didn't like that. They started trying to stop me from studying, saying, "Let your brother have this." It didn't make any sense. I couldn't believe they would treat me this way just because I was doing well. Around that time, a teacher at school told us about a rural experience program. Students could go stay at a farm for 2 nights. We'd help out, cook meals, and learn about country life. I jumped at the chance. I needed a break, and this was my way out, even if it was just for a weekend. My father hated the idea. He said farming was for people who couldn't make it in real jobs. My mother made fun of me, laughing at the thought of me getting dirty in the fields, but I didn't care. I used my own savings and went anyway. It was the first time I'd ever gone against their wishes, and thank God I did. That short trip changed my life. At the farm, I felt free, I felt seen, I felt human. The air was clean, the work was hard but rewarding. The family who hosted me was kind, especially their son, John, who was my age. He was nothing like my brother. He was respectful, warm, and helpful. He talked to me like an equal. His parents were gentle and loving too. When it was time for me to leave, I cried, and so did John's mother. She hugged me and said, "You're welcome anytime." After I got back, I started writing letters to them. John wrote back. Before long, we were sending letters back and forth regularly. We even started calling it an exchange diary. We weren't even dating yet, just 2 people connecting with kindness. But slowly, it turned into love. Back home, things kept getting worse. My brother didn't get into the top university. He ended up going to a third-rate college. My parents were upset. When it was my turn to apply for college, they told me not to bother. Girls don't need to go to college, they said, but I knew that wasn't the real reason. The truth was, they didn't want me to go to a better school than my brother. But I had a dream now. I wanted to become a farmer. I knew I could do that without a degree, but John was studying agriculture and business so he could improve farming methods. I wanted to stand beside him as an equal. So I studied hard, every day, while doing chores and fighting constant discouragement from my family, and I got into college. My father was furious. "You think you can go to a better college than your brother?" he yelled. My mother said they couldn't afford to support me because your brother needs the money. That was the final straw. I was done begging for love. I packed my things. John came to pick me up, and we left together. I never looked back. John's parents, those kind people from the farm, paid for my college education. I worked part-time and studied hard. 4 years later, I graduated and married John. I didn't contact my parents or brother during that time. I wanted nothing to do with them. But after we got married, John's parents gently suggested we tell my family about the wedding. So we visited my old home, me, John, and his parents. It was summer. We were tanned from working outside. My parents took one look at us and sneered. My mother said, "No offense, but how poor are you? You all look like laborers." I begged her to stop, but she ignored me. My brother laughed and mocked our work. John calmly said, "We're proud to be farmers," but my father just smirked and said something I'll never forget. "You're a stranger now. Don't ever come here again. You chose to marry a poor farmer, so don't come crawling back to us for help. You're nothing to us." I nodded. I didn't cry. I'd already been disowned at 18. I just stayed quiet and left. Years passed. I had 2 children. We built a life full of love, work, and laughter. I almost forgot about my parents and brother. One day, my cousin called. She said my brother was getting married, and they were building a duplex so he, his new wife, and my parents could all live together. My cousin knew we were estranged but assumed I'd want to know. After the call, I did something unexpected. I dialed my mother's number. It was disconnected. Same with my father's. I didn't have my brother's number, so I called our old house. My brother picked up. "Brother, it's Amy," I said. There was a pause. Then he shouted, "Don't call me, you're a farmer, you're nothing to me," and he hung up. I tried calling back, but he'd already blocked me. I stood there in shock. It didn't matter how many years had passed, it still hurt. John saw my face and rushed over. "What happened?" he asked. I told him everything, and he was livid. So were my in-laws. My mother-in-law hugged me and said, "You're part of this family, you have us." My father-in-law added, "You're happy now, that's what matters, the one who laughs in the end is the winner." John hugged me tight and whispered, "Let's be better than them, for our kids." I cried, but it was different this time, not from pain, but from feeling deeply loved. Then something unexpected happened. My business was featured on national TV. Backed by the local farmers' union, I had started a small company that sold homemade jams, juices, and pickles made from fruits and vegetables that didn't look perfect but were still fresh and healthy. The business took off. Moms loved it, seniors loved it. We were giving people a taste of the past, and it was all local, safe, and natural. I had built something from the dirt, with my own 2 hands, and the support of a new family who believed in me. And suddenly, people who once mocked me were forced to see the value in what I'd built. But by then, I had already moved on. I didn't need their approval anymore. I had found my home, I had found my family. And I had found peace. After I was pushed out by my family and left to start over, I didn't give up. I worked hard. I started a business from scratch. At first, it was just me and a few other young women. Many of them, like me, had married into farming families. Some were unemployed and looking for a second chance. Together, we built something meaningful. Slowly, over time, our small effort grew into something huge, a company worth $5 million. One day, our success story was featured on national television. After the broadcast, everything changed. Our phones didn't stop ringing. Calls, emails, messages, orders were coming in from everywhere. In the middle of all this excitement, I noticed a call from an unknown number. I picked it up without thinking. It was my brother, the same brother who had once said I was a nobody, a stranger, because I chose a farming life. Now, here he was, acting like nothing happened. He had seen the TV feature and wanted to borrow money to start a business. I said no, firmly, but he didn't like that. He started yelling, saying I shouldn't argue and should just hand over the money. According to him, if I, a woman, could succeed, he definitely could too. I couldn't believe the arrogance. I reminded him how he and the rest of the family had cut ties with me. He said his wife didn't like hearing my name, so they just moved on without telling me. That said a lot to me. She clearly shared the same mindset as my brother, and my parents. Later that day, another call came in. It was my father. His voice was angry and cold. "Why are you, a woman, a boss? That's a man's role," he said. I explained calmly that my husband, John, and my father-in-law were deeply involved in our farm business. It wasn't about gender, it was teamwork. He didn't seem to like that answer. He asked why I hadn't called them. I reminded him, he had disowned me. Then I ended the call and blocked his number. But they didn't stop. Soon after, my mother called. She didn't even try to be subtle. "You're making $500 million a year. Send money home," she demanded. I explained that the business's revenue was $500 million, not my profit. After paying workers and expenses, there wasn't much left. But she didn't care. She kept pushing. I finally said, even if I had money, I wouldn't send it to strangers. Then I hung up and blocked her too. I thought that would be the end of it. It wasn't. My parents, brother, and his wife, whom I had never even met, showed up at my in-laws' house, completely uninvited. My father smiled like nothing had happened and said, "Hey Emmy, surprise, we're canceling your disownment." It was clear what they wanted, money. Even my mother-in-law, who is always kind, couldn't hide her shock. "What is going on with you people?" she asked. My father-in-law and John stood in silence, clearly angry. Our employees, who were nearby, also watched in disbelief. My brother puffed up and said, "We're your real blood. We deserve a share of the money too." His wife just nodded like she agreed with everything. That was it for me. "No," I said, "blood means nothing without love or respect. You treated me like a stranger, you abandoned me." The pain of their rejection returned, and my eyes filled with tears. Just then, John came to my side. "She's part of our family now," he said calmly. "We're happy without you, please go." Even the employees spoke up. "How rude can you be?" My brother lost it. "Shut up, you country people, you're all uneducated trash, you should be quiet and obey us." John just smiled and replied, "Actually, my father and I went to Ivy League universities. Emmy graduated from one of the top agricultural schools." My brother's face froze. "You're farming, after graduating from top universities?" he asked, confused. "Yes," John said, "because we believe in what we're doing." I laughed. I couldn't help it. "Brother," I said, "you've lost to John in every way." I stood taller and spoke clearly. "We are strangers now, and I don't give money to strangers. If you cause trouble or act violently, I'll call the police." That was it. I had said everything I needed to say. My in-laws came closer to protect me, and the employees stood behind me too. I felt loved, respected, and safe. My parents, brother, and sister-in-law left, angry but defeated. Later, my cousin called me and shared what had happened. Apparently, my brother and parents had made some bad business decisions and were now deep in debt. They thought they could use me as a way out, but their pride and arrogance ruined everything. I felt no guilt. I was done with them. My life was full and joyful. My husband loved me, our children were growing up strong and kind, and my in-laws treated me like their own daughter. I kept building my business. We created jobs, helped local farmers, and sold high-quality, affordable products. I had everything I needed. In time, I reconnected with my cousin. We built a true relationship, one based on respect and care. We shared stories, supported each other, and became close. I learned that real family isn't just blood, it's the people who love you and stand by you. My past with my biological family was painful, but it no longer controlled me. I had moved on. With every year, my business grew stronger. We became a positive force in the community, supporting local causes, hosting events, and giving back. Our children learned the importance of love, resilience, and hard work. Our home was filled with warmth, laughter, and hope. My in-laws, especially my mother-in-law, became my biggest supporters. She was more than family, she was a friend, a mentor, and someone I deeply respected. As I look back, I feel proud of the woman I've become. I stood up for myself, found love in unexpected places, and built a life I never imagined was possible. Family isn't always where you come from. Sometimes, it's where you arrive, and I had finally arrived, right where I was meant to be.